Alright, this is the Global Game Jam game that I worked on last weekend, and it is called Lost in Transmission. It is a game about sending a message across a border asking for supplies for a revolution. So it's kind of supposed to be maybe a Soviet border, Soviet era, thus explaining the odd music you're hearing right now. So I worked on this game with 3 other people. It was myself, Brian Cronin, John Trevoranis, Kevin Holmes, and Tyler Jones. I've done many game jams. I think this is my 5th Global Game Jam. John and Kevin had done a couple before, and I think it was Tyler's first Global Game Jam, so we had a lot of fun. And this is what we came up with. So it starts off here. You enter a name, so I'm going to enter my name. So, Dear Brian, need you to send things, choose words carefully, government is watching. So I'm going to send it over to John, or Sincerely John. So very good. Brian, please avert your vision, and then we may begin. So this is a 2-player cooperative asymmetric game. So it's going to start with John. So John needs to tell me there's 6 items at the top that are needed for this revolution, which is a t-shirt, a sword, a whale, a game controller, a Viking hat, and a cat, of course. But there are illegal items, so there's a clock and an 8-ball. These cannot be sent across the border. In addition, the trash can at the bottom will hold irrelevant items. So there's a couple items that are just irrelevant. The idea is you just write a message, and you kind of don't want to be too specific. So I'll put in, just as a test here, maybe it'd be easier just to do sword. I'm being too explicit there. So what I might want to actually say, because that's going to get censored, I might want to say, I'm looking for something sharp. And I'm looking for animals. And I have 30 characters, as we can see here, to enter. So I could try and get a few more items in this first shipment. You want to try and get as many as you can in as few shipments as possible, basically. So I'll also do a hat. Viking helmet is sort of a hat. And let's do, I don't know, just to really get the whale again, let's try C, just for some redundancy, because we don't know exactly what the censor is going to do to our message. And just to demonstrate, if you enter too many characters, well, you can't send the message. So let's send this off and see what happens. So now you pass to Brian, so John would, close his eyes or pass the phone over to Brian. And Brian needs to pack the box now. And this is the message that got through the censorship process. Is we have the first word is censored because we sent over sword and that was too explicit. There's a 5% chance that any word's going to get turned into the word comrade. That's just in the rule set of what the censor does. So this doesn't help us one way or another. There's other rules, like some words will randomly get censored. Some words will get turned into synonyms. So bean, where, and see. See came through straight. That didn't get changed. But the other 2 words got, there was a synonym that got replaced. And I don't know that being this player. I don't know what was replaced and what wasn't. There's a lot of unknowns. But see and bean, these both seem like whale. That seems sensible. And wear. Well, I can wear a t-shirt and I can wear a Viking helmet. So let's go with that. I'm not sure about the other one. So I'll send the box now. So now John's going to see what was received. So we received a t-shirt, a whale, and a Viking helmet, and that's great because that's 3 out of the 6 items we needed. So let's see if we could get an improvement here. So I'm gonna send the word combat for sword, the video game controller. So I'm gonna do maybe let's see if Mario will get through for Mario game controller, and I'll also send for cat. I'll do. I can't send feline because that's a synonym of cat. You can't send synonyms. You'll learn that those get censored. But I will try maybe legs. Cats have legs, and that should get through, right? And let's try game to get the controller again. Let's try weapon for sword. Okay, so let's send that. Let's see what gets through. So we got legs, fearless, censored, and combat. Okay, so let's see what we can make of this. So legs got through. I'm looking at all these. Well, cat obviously has legs. Fearless and combat. So combat, I'm seeing sword. And I'm just going to make a mistake here. For fearless, I'm going to be like, I'm not afraid of the 8-ball, right? So I'm going to send the 8-ball. Let's see what happens. Okay, so now we see the 8-ball was illegal, so we lost the game, and we almost won with the controller. And this here kind of shows you the messages and how they were translated and censored. So you can see the before and after and what was done. So that's kind of how the game works. It's a pretty quick game. Each game takes less than 5 minutes, and it's about trying to figure out how the sensor works and tricking the sensor, which you can only do to some extent. So I had 5 goals with this game, was to really scope it down and make it something we could complete in a weekend. The first goal was to keep it programmatically simple, which we achieved by having it all just take place in the Unity UI. It was a lot of just kind of tracking some basic game state, like tracking these items and the player names, and displaying them and transitioning between different UIs. So that was all pretty simple. I wanted to put art and design first. So we had I think a pretty strong aesthetic here. Not the prettiest game that was ever made, but I think it all kind of fits together, and we were able to complete this art pretty easily within the time constraint. And the design, I think, achieved our goals. Our goal was to make this game about transmitting a censored message across the border. And I think we executed on that really well. And the third goal was to execute one idea really well. Last year, our game featured at least 2 distinct ideas that we're trying to merge together in one game, and it was too complicated. So this was the one idea of basically these messages being sent and receiving, kind of these items based on the message. It was kind of, we were looking at the board game code names and trying to maybe adapt some of those ideas and code names, adapt it to a phone game. And I think we executed that one idea well, without getting too into the weeds on different systems and whatnot. The fourth goal was to make it playable by 2 p.m. on Saturday. That was a very concrete goal. Game jams typically start on a Friday night and finish on a Sunday afternoon. So I wanted to have the full game loop playable by 2 p.m. on Saturday. This really constrained what type of game we could even make. So we did achieve that. It was actually 3 p.m. on Saturday, but I had the whole game loop running. So none of this artwork was in here, no music, no sound effects, but the core game loop was operational by 3 p.m. on Saturday. So that was all a really good sign. And the last goal was that there's team breaks for gameplay feedback. So I wanted to have, times when we just took a break and played the game. This was the one we didn't execute on as well. We definitely had some breaks, but maybe not as many as I would have liked. I think we could have improved on the team break idea. But we did get a few play tests in before finishing the game and helped direct our efforts. So that is the game. That is Lost in Transmission. We're going to try and get it up on, I don't know if we'll get it up on app stores because it's a big process, but it's available, going to be available on itch, and it's available on the Global Game Jam site, and I'll link those in the video description. Would love some feedback. So thank you for watching, and that is our game.